Hello everybody, welcome back to another week of RBL Season 6. This is week 7 against Tom and the Mozilla Fire Ferrets. I have a confession to make that this battle happened almost a month ago, and I'm just now getting around to recording it. That is my fault. I just didn't record it, and I'm sorry about that. But last week, week 6, which was now, a long time ago I uploaded that, was a victory against Pierce and the South Area Scissors. So we're doing okay. We're 2-4. I don't know our differential because it was a while ago, but we'll get into this match. As you can see, Tom's team is on the other side of the screen. My team's on this side. It is Tapu Koko, which is a Life Orb Tapu Koko with 72 HP, 252 special attack, and 184 speed. I just hit a window. I'm sorry about that. With Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Dazzling Gleam, and Grass Knot. I brought the Grass Knot expecting to see Seismitoad, because Seismitoad actually did pretty well, and he didn't bring it, which surprised me. And then Dazzling Gleam, Volt Switch, and Thunderbolt are pretty obvious. Next is Rotten the Mimikyu with Focus Sash, with 252 attack, 4 special defense, and 252 speed with a jolly nature. I don't know if I mentioned Tapu Koko was timid, but this is a jolly Mimikyu. With Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Destiny Bond. In the event that I'm able to outspeed something and get a Destiny Bond off where I can't kill it. But it'll kill me. Next is Cinccino, Pumpkin Spice the Cinccino. With the Assault Vest, it's Skill Link, I think. There was one week I know where I forgot it. I don't remember when that was, though. But we'll see. It was shiny. Not important. With 252 HP, 4 attack, and 252 special defense. With Knockoff, Rock Blast, U-Turn, and Tail Slap. And it is an Assault Vest set, because it is the thing that can best shut down a Hoopa. Believe it or not. So, yeah, it's a fun set this week. Next is Mr. Ray the Mantine with Leftovers and Water Absorb. With 252 HP, 4 special attack, and a max special defense with a Calm Nature, with Defog Roost, Toxic, and Scald. Then it is T-Bow the Passimian with the Rockium Z, with 252 HP, max attack, and 4 special defense. Adamant Nature with Rock Slide, Close Combat, U-Turn, and Earthquake. And lastly is Heatran with Leftovers, with max HP, max special attack, and 4 special defense, with a modest nature, with Fire Blast, Flash Cannon, Hidden Power, Grass, and Stealth Rock. So I prepped a lot for the Seismitoad, which didn't end up showing up, but we'll get into this battle as much of it as I can remember. So we'll hope this goes decently. I'm going to lead off the Heatran, and he is going to lead off with the Klefki. I want to get my Stealth Rocks up, so I think I click Fire Blast, though, instead of setting up Stealth Rocks, just in case he wanted to stay in, which I think was probably a safe play. I figure this thing probably has Earthquake or Earth Power, so I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to bring in Mantine, and he is going to go for the Earthquake. This thing probably also has Thunderbolt, potentially, but being that it was physical, that's not as big of a threat, and he's going to go for the Dragon Tail instead. So I'm going to be able to do whatever. He's going to switch out and bring in Pelipper. It's going to set up the Rain. And I'm going to go for the Scald, hoping to get a Burn. I don't get one. He's Leftovers. He's going to switch out and bring Goodra back in, because it has Hydration, so we can get rid of that Toxic, which I completely forgot about. But it's fine. That'll do. He's going to Curse, which is not cool. I'm going to Toxic again, but Hydration's still going to cure it. I don't really have anything I can do because I didn't bring Ice Beam this week. He's going to Dragon Tail again and miss again. And I'm just going to keep going for the Skull, just going for some chip damage. He's going to Dragon Tail, and actually he hit this time, so do 40%, and switch me out into Cinccino, which I don't really want Cinccino to stay in, because I don't want Cinccino to take a lot of damage, but I am going to knock off, go to the Leftovers on this Goodra. He goes for the Dragon Tail, does 48% since I'm a bulky set. Bring in Mimikyu, which is great. I do want Mimikyu in. Mimikyu can do a lot. He's going to bring in Type Null as I set up a Swords Dance, and I'm going to go for the Play Rough, and it's going to do 35% on this Eviolite type null. He's going for the Toxic, which is not good because that busts my Focus Sash. I'm going to Swords Dance again because I still have the Disguise up. Go for the Hidden Power. It's going to hit my Disguise. And I'm just going to stay in. I don't know why Mimikyu looks so weird. There we go. And I'm going to once again go for the Play Rough. Do 54%. Not enough to kill. He's going to go for the Hidden Power. It's not going to do anything to kill me. And I have the ability to go for another Play Rough and kill this type null, which I do. So it is now 6-5 in my favor. But Mimikyu is down pretty low. He's going to bring in the Clef Key, which I can't touch. So I'm going to switch it out and bring in Heatran, since Heatran's my best thing to deal with this. He's going to go for the Spikes, which is fine, because I have Mantine with Defog, so I'm not worried. I'm bringing Pelipper. I'm going to set up my Stealth Rocks, because I figure it's probably a good time to do that. And I'm going to switch out, bringing Mantine, which means I'm going to, of course, Defog, but he's going to Hurricane me and get Confusion, which is not cool. It's not going to matter. I'm going to Roost up, break through the Confusion. He's going to go for the Hurricane again, do 18%. I'm just hoping I can survive and live long enough that I don't have to worry about this stuff. But he's going to switch out and bring in the Clef Key. I'm confused again. We're going to break through. We're going to go for the Toxic, and he switches into the Clef Key. Good prediction on his part. And I'm going to get out of my Confusion this turn and Scald, hoping to get a burn on the Clef Key, which I do not get. But in the rain, it's boosted anyway, so it's going to do a decent amount of damage. I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave, which is cool. I'm going to Defog this turn because I don't want these spikes up anymore in case I want to switch out into Heatran, which I believe is what I do this turn. Nope, I'm going to stay in, actually, and I'm going to Scald again, I think, just to try to get the burn on this Clef Key, which I get a crit burn, which is always nice. But I'm going to Defog again to get rid of these spikes at some point. But I'm paralyzed this turn, so it's not going to happen this turn. I'm going to Defog this turn, still faster than the Goudreau, get rid of the spikes as he's going to go for the Dragon Tail, which is going to bring me into Passimian. And I'm going to, I believe, I'm sorry about the clock, I think I click I click U-turn actually, which actually makes the most sense. And I'm going to switch out, and it's going to bring me into Tapu Koko, which I can Thunderbolt safely because it doesn't have anything that's immune to it. Or I can Volt Switch safely, which is, I believe, what I opt to do instead. I'm going to Thunderbolt, leaves at 62%. And I believe here I Volt Switch, because I know Dazzling Gleam is not going to do enough yet to KO this thing. I'm going to bring in Mantine, who can deal with this in ways. Of course, I'm going to set up another Curse, which is not the best thing, but I'm going to watch as this thing goes for the rest on the Electric Terrain, which it can't do, because Electric Terrain prevents you from going to sleep. So, I'm in here to just do what I can. He's going to go for the Dragon Tail, and it's going to switch me out into Tapu Koko, which is great, because at this point, Dazzling Gleam can kill, and it will. So it is now 6-4 in my favor, but that Pelipper is still a huge problem, and this Clef Key is still a huge problem, and that Hoopa is still a huge problem. I'm going to Volt Switch once again, and I'm going to now go into, I believe, Mantine, in order to Defog. I think that's Tapu Koko's first KO of the season, if I remember correctly, or the second. I don't remember when it got the first one. I'm going to Scald. I'm going to get rid of this Clef Key. So it's 6-3, but this Hoopa, the three biggest threats are still around on this team. And Hoopa's going to come in, and Hoopa is a huge threat. Thunderbolt's going to get rid of me. The spikes are still up. It is now 5-3. I'm going to go into Cinccino, and I'm going to click Knock Off. This is when I figure out this thing's probably Scarfed, or, Spec or something. I'm going to knock off, get rid of the leftovers from this thing here. I'm going to switch into Tapu Koko, which is a risk I had to take because I didn't want anything taking too much damage. I feel like that was a bad play. I think I should have gone into the Mimikyu and let that thing go down, but I go into Passimian, go for the Z rock move, Continental Crush, which is going to do 76% almost KO as he goes for the Hurricane and manages to get the KO, so it is now 3-3, just like that. I'm going to bring in Cinccino now, and I'm going to go for the Rock Blast and miss it. He's going to go for the Scald. I'm going to live it at 4%. I should have just gone for the knockoff in the first place just to get rid of it. I was worried he might go into the Tornadus, but I shouldn't have expected that. He's going to go into this thing. It's going to outspeed me, go for the Dark Pulse, and at this point, there's not really much I can do. So I'm going to go into the Heatran, because Heatran's going to be able to play this thing the best. He's going to go into the Hoopa as I go for the Fire Blast. He's going to do a good amount of damage, but this thing's going to be able to KO me with anything. If he goes for the Focus Blast or something, he's going to go for the Shadow Ball, actually. And I missed the Fire Blast, which stinks. It would only KO me if it went for the Focus Blast, but he wanted to go for the Shadow Ball in case he could stay in and win, which is pretty rough. As I do KO this thing, he's going to bring in Tornadoes here and just be able to KO with 2 Dark Pulses or a Superpower and a Dark Pulse. I believe he just opts for 2 Dark Pulses, though, and KOs everything. So missing that Fire Blast was bad. I don't know how much it mattered. Going into Tapu Koko was definitely the biggest thing that I did wrong. I think I should have gone into Mimikyu. I wanted to keep Mimikyu around because I was so scared of that Hoopa because I didn't know anything about it at the time. But looking back on it, that was definitely a big mistake, and I wish I just went into Mimikyu, because Mimikyu wasn't going to do anything at that point anyway. It was too low, and Tapu Koko was too important in terms of taking out the Pelipper, and also dealing with this thing here. So that was just a bad play on my end, and I should have played that better. I was very worried about the Hoopa, because that, at the time, had not been KO'd once. It was 11-0, so I managed to shut it down, but I should have let the Mimikyu go down instead of the Tapu Koko. I went into Tapu Koko because there was the chance that he wouldn't go for Hurricane, or he wouldn't go for Scald, wouldn't go for Hurricane, which wouldn't KO. Scald would, and he went for the Scald, which was the better play, and I know that, and I recognize that. It was just, I was in a very tough position, and I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of made a quick decision. Actually, it wasn't even a quick decision. I thought about it for a while, what I should do, because I didn't want to go into the Cinccino, because I wanted Cinccino around to deal with the Hoopa. I didn't go into Passimian, because I wanted Passimian because it had the Continental Crush, which could do a lot of damage to something, and I didn't want to switch it in, because it would die to a Hurricane, if that's what he went for, and I didn't want to risk a Scald Burn. So, I mean, I had options. It was kind of a tough position I was in, and ultimately it ended up not working out for me, but it's whatever. It was a 1-0 loss. Could have been a much worse loss. Being that I was up 6-3 didn't really mean anything to me at the time because I recognized the threat of the 3 things he had left, and I had stuff that had been whittled down and was lower. So at the end of the day, it was a loss that I could have changed, and it wasn't the best match that I've played, and I will acknowledge that, but hopefully going forward we can at least pick up one more win. I at least want 3 wins this season. That if I don't get 3 wins, I'd consider the season a very big disappointment. But that task is definitely a bit of a challenge, because I do have to play a lot of very good coaches the rest of the season. So, but with that, I'm going to end this here. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be getting the other 2 battles that I've had since week 6, so 7, 8, and 9 up soon. But until then, goodbye.